Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome. My name is Boston. Today we have a very exciting video. I'm going to be talking about some spooky sapphic books. So if you didn't already know, I have an ongoing series, I guess, on my channel where I talk about female books that don't suck, because the common phrase that I hear is, well, there's no good female books. Like, they're just not good. So I like to recommend some that don't suck, if you will. So this is kind of a version of that, except they are all going to be spooky books. And I'm very excited to talk about some books today. I've got, obviously, a whole face on. I feel like a completely different person. I'm looking into the viewfinder and I don't recognize the person that's there. But anyway, without any further ado, let's jump into it. Here are some spooky sapphic books. So the first book that I have is actually part of a series, but most of the books in the series you don't need to read in order. That is Down Among the Sticks and Bones by Shauna McGuire. This is the second book in the Wayward Children series, the first one being oh gosh, Every Heart a Doorway, and some of them you do need to read in order, but this one in particular you do not. This one you can read by itself and you can just get all of the spooky goodness from it. So this follows two characters. They are twins. Their names are Jack and Jill, and they end up going into this Narnia-esque world, and this world is basically every gothic literature book put into one world. So think like Frankenstein and Dracula, like definitely gives off those vibes. It's very spooky. One of the main characters is sapphic, so that's super cool. Obviously, I would not have brought this book up if she wasn't, so yeah. I really like this one. It's super short. If you want to like maybe read an entire book on Halloween, this would be a good one because it's short, easy, and spooky and fun. Okay, the next book that I have is Wilder Girls by Rory Power. This is a horror, YA horror, and it follows our main character who is living on this island, and they are basically in quarantine. Fun times, we all know how that is. But they are in quarantine. She goes to the school for girls. There's this virus of sorts that turns body parts into grotesque features. So she is missing an eye. That's, you know, her kind of body thing. But yeah, it's super creepy and super weird, and I love the romance in this one. It's so cute. So yeah, highly recommend you pick this one up. Also, the cover is just like, how can you see this and not want to buy it, you know? Okie doke. Next up, we have Gideon the Ninth by Tamsin Ware. This is science fiction. It's adult, and it follows our main character Gideon, who is a necromancer, and she is this big, buff, butch lesbian, and she's basically competing with her arch nemesis, and they're in this kind of like a haunted mansion thing. It's super weird. There's sword fighting skeletons. It's just wacky and fun. There's a murder mystery, and yeah, it was just a whole heck of a lot of fun. And next, we have a YA fantasy, or contemporary fantasy, and that is The Scapegracers. This is by Hannah Abigail Clark. I just noticed the little tagline kind of down here. It says "Party hard, hex harder," which I love that. I want that tattooed on me. But yeah, that's great. Anyway, I just finished reading this a couple weeks ago, and I absolutely loved it. It was so much fun. This is about a girl who is a witch, and she is called upon by the popular girls in her school to do some magic at a party. And she ends up becoming friends with these girls, and they're basically a coven. And it's really fun. I love the magic. I love the main character. She's definitely like kind of like a goth punk kind of style girl, and I really like that because that's how I was in high school. At least the like punk kind of side. But yeah, I really like this, and also this cover is stunning as well. All of the sapphics get the great covers, I'm telling you. Okay, next up we have a YA thriller, and that is Sakyo Girls by Claire Legrand. This is about a girl who, I think this is several points of view, 3 looks like, and it follows them on this island, and there are girls going missing every year or so, and nobody really wants to find them, like nobody really cares, so they are like, you know, we gotta figure out what's going on. So they have to figure out what's going on, why these girls are mysteriously disappearing, what's taking them, and it's really spooky, really fun, perfect for Halloween, like all of these books are. All right, the last 2 that I have are quite similar, and I know what you're thinking. Well, when we get to them, I know what you will be thinking. That's, how are these similar? I don't know. In my brain though, they're kind of similar. Anyway, the first book we have is Into the Drowning Deep by Mira Grant. This is a book mockumentary about mermaids, and it's amazing, and I loved it. This was one of my favorite books of last year. It was so gory and so scary and so much fun. The main character in this is sapphic, and one character is autistic. There is another character that is deaf. I think the main character is the one that uses ASL. Super cool rep in this that is really not seen that often. But yeah, this is just so unique. I mean, killer mermaids, what more do you need to know, you know? I don't think you need to know anything else. I don't know why you wouldn't want to pick this up after that, you know, those keywords. And finally, we have The Luminous Dead by Caitlin Starling. This, I think, is very similar to Into the Drowning Deep because it has to do kind of with creatures and going below ground. That's really it. This has to do a little bit with water too. So our main character is a caver, or not really, but she applied for this job to be a caver, even though she's not really experienced as one, and it's a job that requires some experience, but she ends up getting the job somehow. And so she goes down into this cave system, and it's on this other planet, right? So they're trying to make new discoveries, of course. In this tunnel system, cave system, there's, I basically pictured it as the, what's it called? Alaskan bullworm from SpongeBob. I can't remember what exactly it was called, but it's basically a giant worm of sorts that goes through like under the ground, and it can only hear like vibrations and noises and smells, I think, too. So she has to go down in like a completely sealed off suit so it can't smell her, and then like she has, if it's nearby, she has to stay really still, right? It's very creepy, and it like really freaked me out when I first read it, and I read it at night, which was probably a bad idea, but it made it more fun. So yeah, I highly recommend this one if you have a fear of caves, dark places, water, or not. I either really recommend it or I really don't. So yeah. Okay, so that is going to be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know if you know of any sapphic spooky books down in the comments. And if you watched this far, leave me a spooky emoji and a pride emoji. The pride flag, you know the one. Leave them both so that, you know, we're doing spooky gays, okay? So yeah, there you go. Once again, I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.